is Feyenoord. Feyenoord gaat door. In de beker. Over en uit voor Ajax. Feyenoord beker verder. Wat de Kuip trilt is een understatement. Ik vraag me af of wie al blijft.
Morning to you. You're welcome to Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Kingsley Emmanuel, and I'm very, very happy to be here this morning to bring you up to speed with the latest around the beautiful world of sports this morning. Top on our menu, Nigerian para-athlete set new record in Paris. And in tennis, Igor Swiatek so far setback in US Open. In football, Galatasaray unveils Victor Osimhen and style. This and many more will be yours after the short time. Stay with us. welcome back. Stay Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television. I beg your pardon, Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network this morning. Now, of course, we have a lot for you this morning, and a lot going on, especially as it concerns the US Open, as well as the preparation for the 2025 AFCON qualifier against Benin Republic. Of course, Super Eagles will be in action this weekend. And before we get to that, let's quickly take a look at what's happening, of course, in the FIBA Under 18 Afro Basketball Championship, because it's really getting interesting at the moment. Wasn't a rosy one for Team Nigeria, as Nigeria's Junior D Tigers fell to Egypt 70-57 in FIBA Under 18 Afro Basketball Opener. Putting up that impressive feat, of course, wasn't really enough in that encounter. We saw as they fell in that one against Egypt. Now, take a look at it. The Nigerian team, which faced significant obstacles leading up to the match, showed commendable resilience despite arriving in Pretoria just as before tip-off. The team's participation was uncertain after visa delays from South Africa consulate, but a last-minute intervention by the Nigerian government, the Nigerian Basketball Federation, and FIBA ensured their arrival. The team will now focus on their next game against Angola on Saturday as they aim to reach the final and secure a spot in the 2025 FIBA Under-19 World Cup in Switzerland. And this one, of course, is really getting interesting at the moment because due to the uncertainty, I think, of course, you attribute that to the performance we saw for the Under-18 D Tigers, not being able, of course, to get past Egypt. They arrived to the competition venue a few hours before their game, and that, of course, you will see a little bit of fatigue might have played in this one for the fact that the D Tigers couldn't actually get past Egypt in this particular one. But we look forward to see what comes up in their next encounter. Can they get past their opponents and see how, of course, they can further push things up? We try most we can, of course, to establish a connection with Port Harcourt sport veteran, Mr. Peter Abaji, as, of course, he has a lot to tell us about what really happened to the Under-18 D Tigers of Nigeria. We understand how, of course, the road has been so difficult for them, but we'll see what comes up in their next encounter. Can they get past their opponents and see how to strengthen their own going forward in this particular one? Hasn't been that rosy. Taking a look at the way they were actually being denied visa, but from what we've seen so far, I think they can possibly bounce back if they were able, of course, to put up such a performance against Egypt. It means they can bounce back when they settle down, properly down there in South Africa for this particular one. But before we try, I'm also going to bring Mr. Badji on that. Let's see if we can also bring you some interesting stories coming in the beautiful world of sport this morning, and it concerns the Paralympic Games, as we saw some impressive action with Esther Umogu, Nigerian powerhouse in Paralympic powerlifting, delivered a stunning performance that earned her a well-deserved silver medal. Place in history. Competing at the highest level, Umogu lifted an incredible 118 kg on her third attempt, setting a new Paralympic record and securing the silver medal for Nigeria. Umogu's journey to the podium was marked by sheer determination and an unbreakable spirit. After successfully lifting 116 kg in her second attempt, she knew she needed something special to challenge for gold. With the eyes of the world on her, Esther Umogu pushed her limits and hosted 118 kg, a lift that temporarily put her in the lead and set a new Paralympic record in that one. The arena was filled with excitement and pride as Umogu record-setting lift was celebrated by fans and fellow athletes alike. The Nigerian flag was raised high as Team Nigeria cheered on their hero, who had just made history. Nwogo's achievement was not just a victory for her, but a moment of national pride for Nigeria, a country with a rich tradition in Paralympic powerlifting. Esther Nwogo's silver medal and record-setting lift underscore her remarkable talent and perseverance. Her performance at the Paralympic is a testament to her dedication and serves as an inspiration to athletes across Nigeria and the world. All right, we'll take a break and we'll come back. We'll try to establish connection with our guest this morning, Mr. Peter Abaji, as he has a lot to tell us about the performance of Esther Nwogo in Paris. Stay with us.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Welcome back as the Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network. Of course, I told you we'll be having a Protocol Sports veteran on the show this morning. And of course, he's here with us, Mr. Peter Abaji. Good morning to you and welcome to Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network.
Yeah, good morning, my brother Kingsley. How are you doing today?
I'm very fine. Let's quickly get straight to business this morning, Mr. Peter, because not a rosy one, as we saw the Nigerian under-18 D Tigers. They lost to Egypt. We understand the uncertainty surrounding, of course, their rival down there in South Africa for this particular one. What do you make? What will you attribute, the loss to? Will you attribute it to fatigue due to the fact that they arrived late before the first encounter against Egypt?
Yes, fatigue could have been a problem. The state of their mental preparedness could also have been a problem. Don't forget that 24 hours before departure, they were not sure if they would be in South Africa. As the alarm that was raised about the South African Africa here, it's so sad that the players were subjected to such mental torture, because when an athlete, goes through such mental torture, it becomes very difficult for such athletes, to be at his very best, because everything about preparation ahead of the tournament has been programmed. You prepare for 1 month, for example, and 2 days you arrive at the tournament venue 2-3 days before commencement of the tournament, maybe to acclimatize and to further fine-tune your approaches to each game as it comes. The 2-3 days that you have stayed for acclimatization, of 4 days as the case may be, and the number of training sessions that you would have had to further get yourselves, familiar with, maybe the playing surface. The playing surface in your country is different from what you're going to use over there. You get familiar with the playing surface, you get familiar with the environment, and you perfect your tactics and all of that. All of this you did not get to do. It is you arrive at the tournament venue and straight to the courts to play. So performance will certainly be affected. So I want to believe that was what happened to the team. But of course, it did pretty well, playing against the defending champions on the continent of Africa. So let's see what their second game will be like against Angola. For me, they've done pretty well. However, I don't know when the MBPF in Nigeria forwarded the names of the to be given the expected time, or if it was done, much more later. That we don't know. But whatever it is, the South African embassy did not do well, delaying entry visas to these players.
All right, let's just see how it goes. We hope that the players, of course, will bounce back from this one, and of course get their second encounter in a very, very good fashion. But away from that, Mr. Apita, you and I, of course, understand that the Paralympic game is still on, and so far so good. It's just been 2 medals for Team Nigeria, 1 bronze in the para badminton, and 1 silver medal in the para lifting. We saw Esther Nwogu putting up that impressive feat yesterday, of course, to take up the silver medal in the para lifting. What do you make of the performance of Team Nigeria so far?
It's not better than the 0 medal that your able-bodied athletes, came back with. The other day we were talking, and Michael was so excited about $15,000 for gold as a very big motivation, and I remember motivation can only work when your athletes have been subjected to the best of training program, have been subjected to the best of motivation, have been subjected to the best of facilities, equipment before the tournament proper. You don't bring in financial motivation thinking that to do the math.
Mr. Baja, are you there?
To those who have won for Nigeria, they have really written their name in gold in the sands of time in this country at the time when we are going through so much pain, so much hardship, economically in Nigeria. Sporting-wise, we have something that we put, smiles, on our faces. So congratulations to them. I'm really proud of these, athletes for bringing the Nigerian spirit to the table. And we can only get better than this. things can be better, if we do that, which is right, and at the right time.
All right, taking a look at it, so far so good. We've seen how abysmal the para table tennis athletes, they've performed. We only have one now who is in the semi-final. That's Okunkole. Can you hear me, Mr. Baji? Mr. Baji, can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me, Mr. Baji?
Come again with your question, Kingsley. I'm struggling.
Okay.
Yeah, come again with your question. I'm struggling to hear you.
All right. I was asking overall, have you been impressed with the performance of the athletes, so far? Because they've
The
been.
network is disturbing now.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly. I can hear you clearly down here, Mr. Baji. Can you hear me?
Wow.
Mr. Baji, can you hear me? All right, sir. We'll see how to establish the connection with.
Can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay.
I can hear you now.
All right. I was asking, what do you make of the overall performance for the players?
Yes, I can.
The players who saw the para table tennis athletes, they had a very, very abysmal performance. About 8 of them were actually eliminated. Rose saw only one in the semi-final of the competition, as it is, and he's also looking for a medal as it stands. I don't know, overall, have you been impressed with the performance of the athletes? Hello, Mr. Baji. All right, I think we see how to establish a connection back with Mr. Abaji on the show this morning. But away from that, the Minister of Sports Development, Senator John Wanino, has praised Esther Nwogu for securing Nigeria's second medal and the women's 41 kg powerlifting category at the ongoing Paralympic Games in Paris. The minister, who has been in Paris to support Team Nigeria, expressed his pride in the athletes' achievement. He emphasized the importance of resilience and belief in their abilities, urging the entire team to continue striving for podium finishes. And a very good one. Of course, the minister has been so supportive. We saw him, of course, commending the likes of Eniola Bolaji, and also talking about Esther for putting up that impressive feat as well. All right, still talking about the Paralympic game. Nigeria's Iso Okunkule is thrilled by his famous win over France Maxime Thomas in the quarterfinals of the men's class 4 table tennis event of the Paris 2024 Paralympic Games. The Ogun State athlete became the star attraction at the South Paris Arena after silencing the home crowd with a stunning 3-1 victory in that particular encounter was saw. All right, we have Mr. Abaji with us. Mr. Abaji, can you hear us now? Mr. Abaji, can you hear us now? Okay, well, we're still struggling to establish that connection with Mr. Abaji. But that's it. We'll be seeing Okunkule, of course, in the semi-final. And, of course...
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me now, Mr. Abaji?
The network is better now.
Okay. I was asking, have you been impressed with the performance of the para-athletes, especially in para-table tennis, where, we saw some of the athletes, they had an abysmal performance. Just the man talking about Okunkule, he's in the semi-final of the table tennis event and looking forward to get another medal for Team Nigeria. What do you make of the overall performance of the athletes that have performed so far? Have you been impressed with the performance they put up so far? Still struggling, of course, to get through Mr. Abaji. But we'll take a short break and we'll come back from the break. We'll still try as much as we can to establish connection with Mr. Abaji, but we'll still have a lot for you on the show this morning. Stay with us, right back.
Het is Feyenoord. Feyenoord gaat door. In de beker. Over en uit voor Ajax. Feyenoord beker verder.
welcome back to Sports Extraordinary Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network, and of course, joining me as well this morning to take a look at the latest we have for you is Emmanuel Michael. Michael, good morning to you and welcome to the show.
Good morning to you, Kingsley, and good morning to our viewers out there. Always a delightful moment talking sport right here with you.
All right, we're looking at the performance of Team Nigeria in Paris, talking about the para athletes, and yesterday Nigeria were able to get their second medal, which was in silver. What do you make of it, Esther, putting up that impressive performance yesterday in the para-powerlifting?
Well, for me, I think it was an impressive display from Esther Nwogo out there, especially when we are struggling since the start of this year's Paris Paralympic out there in Paris. Team Nigeria have actually struggled a lot. So you saw how our tennis players, especially, were knocked out of the competition. And tennis is one of the strong hold that we have an advantage of in the Paralympic team out there. When they with about 9 Paralympians, out of those 9, 8 were defeated 2 days ago, just remaining only one who was able to go through her opponent yesterday and got into the semi-final. We are hopeful that at least she's going to at least bring the gold medal home in that very one. But in all, I tell you, it has been a very big struggle for Team Nigeria, the ongoing Paralympic Games out there, which for me is quite disappointing. And for the powerlifting, I think this is another area of advantage for us. If we can make something out of there, then I still strongly believe that we can finish very high. But specifically about Esther Nwogo's performance yesterday, I think for me it was very, very incredible and very massive feat out there. Just receiving a whole lot of praises and encomium right now, starting from the Sport Minister John Waneno, who also have joined so many Nigerians in the praise of this Paralympian for her heroics out there. I tell you, it's a great one. Like I said, this is area where we should also take advantage, because this is our stronghold in terms of the powerlifting angle. This is where we have our own strength as well. So I'm believing that we are going to at least make this opportunity count for us going forward.
All right, let's say it goes for Team Nigeria. We hope they'll be able to grab more medals, going forward. Away from that, Uganda long-distance runner Rebecca Cheptegei was still fighting for her life yesterday after being set on fire by a Kenyan man just weeks after taking part in the Paris Olympics. The 32-year-old athlete is being treated in the multi-teaching referral hospital in Kenya, Rift Valley city of Eldoret after Sunday's attack. Cheptegei sustained burns to 80% of her body. The hospital acting CEO Owen Manek told reporters this week saying everything was being done to save her life. Police said a man identified as Dixon Ndema had dosed Cheptegei with a petrol and set her alight at her home in N base in the western country of Trans-Nzoia. There was no official medical updates from the hospital yesterday. Now, top Kenyan Sport Ministry official Peter Tom said yesterday that the Ugandan and the Kenyan government were both involved in her care. Cheptegei took part in the women's marathon at the Paris Games on August 11, placing 44th. The assault on Cheptegei comes 2 years after Kenyan-born athlete Damaris Mutua was found dead in Eton, a world famous running hub in the Rift Valley. Latest figures by the Kenyan National Bureau of Statistics published in January 2023 found that 34% of women in the country have experienced physical violence since the age of 15. Michael, what do you make of this situation? Not a very good one at all.
Very disappointing news coming in from Kenya, especially their athletes. I don't know what seems to be the problem. Either Kenya or Uganda, each time you keep hearing that their athlete has been attacked or some has been killed. I don't know the reason behind that, but taking a look at the statistics from the Kenyan Bureau of Statistics, the rates start at 15% of their male athletes or male being attacked out there, and I don't know what seems to be the reason maybe in a few days time we'll get to also get a confessionary statement of the attacker, who also, with that petroleum, the action or the intent was to set her ablaze. She nearly died. They are trying to see if they can be able to revive her back to life as it is. She's in a very critical condition, because I had to go through some of the Kenya dailies this morning, their sport page out there. They say the situation is very critical, and the doctor have not yet released an official statement on the health condition of that athlete. I think for me it's a quite disturbing one, very worrisome, and I think that the police should also do their own investigation proper, so that they get to know the reason for these incessant attacks on female, and especially for athletes out there. There must be a motive behind this, because before someone could just stay at you, go get a petroleum to come and set you ablaze, what could have propelled such a heinous and evil intent? So these are things that police authority need to also put their nose on the ground as well, to also find out what seems to be the cause, and find a possible way in order to solve this this very issue, and make it more like a permanent one, so that at least their female and the athletes out there will have a breeding ground, so that they don't go about worrying themselves anytime they are going out there in the street, or even in your own house, because some of the attackers have also met their maybe more their prey in their house as well. So we begin to wonder what could be the reason for this. So I think for me, quite disappointing and disheartening. I feel that the authorities should do everything possible to bring the excellence to book.
All right, so let's see how it goes. Keep our fingers crossed and continue to monitor how things, of course, unfold down there. But away from that, Jack Draper's representative breakout run at the US Open reached the new height as the Brighton fought his way past Alex de Minaur to reach a first Grand Slam semi-final. The 22-year-old showed all of his youthful talents along with grit and determination to win 6-3, 7-5, 6-2. He received treatment for a leg problem early in the second set, while Australian 10th seed de Minaur seemed hampered by injury issues of his own. But Draper, playing his first match on the famous Otto Ashe Stadium, was by far the better player, as he became the first British man to reach the last four in New York since Andy Murray title win in 2012. Michael, what do you make of it? Jack Draper putting up that feat once again for the British tennis players.
A statement of intent from Jack Draper out there. I think for me, he's been long coming. I hope to see him at least make
It's
this
been a long time we saw a British player at this stage.
Yes, very, very long time ago. It's about 18 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. So for me, I think it's a very good one for the British, players out there. I think he's trying to revive back his his name and make it become popular once more, because many times his fans out there always expect the best and hope that at least Jack Draper is going to hit his peak, but then he never. Starting from last season, he has lost his form. He was nowhere to be found in some of the major Grand Slam of the year, down to this last Grand Slam of the year. Let's hope that at least he can actually make a positive impact and possibly get to the final to give the British tennis fans something to cheer home about.
Of course, we look forward to see how it is. Still talking about tennis this morning. World number one, Jannik Sinner beats former champion Daniil Medvedev in a topsy-turvy US Open match to set up a semi-final against Jack Draper. Italy, Sinner was a 6-2, 1-6, 6-1, 6-4 winner over the Russian 5th seed in New York. Michael, Jannik Sinner still pushing through.
Still pushing through despite the the setback and challenges. Coming up to this last Grand Slam of the year at the US Open, he was engrossed with failing doping tests twice, which so many tennis players actually took to the social media, to the media as well, to lambast the authority for not wielding the big stick against Jannik Sinner. Sometimes it as favoritism, sometimes it as whatever name, but then they were not happy for the fact that this player actually defaulted, taking a banned substance that is not good for the fair competition of the game, but then he was allowed off the hook. He was really fine, and some money some money was deducted and some point as well was deducted from him. So taking a look at this coming to the US Open, one thought maybe psychologically he would be weighed down by so many criticism out there from present and even former players. You know, we thought maybe that is going to weigh him down, but then I think he has surmounted that pressure, that criticism from different quarters, and he was able to stay strong and get to this stage. I tell you, even if he gets to be knocked out this time around, yeah, you will say that yes, he has given a good account of himself. Looking at there's so many criticism coming from left, right, and center, you know, for him failing dope test twice. So for me, I think it's a big one for him. Let's hope that at least he can make this one count after winning the early Grand Slam of the year. Talking about the French Open, yeah. And okay, if he makes this one count, I think it's going to be a big, you know, leap.
That's the Australian Open.
Australian Open, rather. If you get to win this US Open again, then it's a statement of intent, and he further cement himself as even the world #1. The points will even be more higher compared to what is leading Novak Djokovic right now.
All right, let's see how it goes for the man. But do you think this is Yannick Sinner's title? Because Sinner and Medvedev were the two top players, of course, remaining at the moment. But now he's through. He's going to play against Draper, of course. On paper, you definitely give it up to Yannick Sinner in that encounter. And the other semi-final, we have the likes of Francis Tiafoe and Taylor Fritz. So if you take a look at it, he's the big name remaining in the last four. Is it Yannick Sinner's title?
It's a big question, but for me, I think big name sometimes doesn't even really matter. We saw how the big name, talking about Novak Djokovic, was hosted out of the, you know, some games in the past. Even the defending champion this year has been hosted out in the male category as well, both male and female category. These are big names. They've all been knocked out of the competition. You know, so for me, it doesn't. You know, matter whether you're a big name or not. We still have other good players still left in the round of 4. And like you mentioned, we still have Taylor Fritz. On a good day, Taylor Fritz could be a very dangerous opponent, a very difficult player to handle on the court. Talking about Tiafoe as well, very good player. On a very good day, he can also, you know, spring some surprises out there. You know, so for me, I can't actually give it to him directly, you know, because of the fact that he is a big name. But I still strongly believe that he has what it takes to at least, you know, possibly get to the final. But winning it is another big question that you need to answer and prove that on the court for us to see.
Let's see how it goes. Let's quickly move down to the female category now. As we've seen Jessica Pegula, she stormed world #1 Iga Swiatek at the US Open to secure her place in the long-awaited first Grand Slam semi-final. American Pegula had lost her past 6 major quarterfinals, but she overwhelmed Polish top seed Swiatek 6-2, 6-4 in New York. She will face Karolina Muchova today for a place in the final after the Czech beat Beatrice Hademir 6-1, 6-4 in that particular one. Michael, the Americans are not playing at all. In the male category, Francis Tiafoe, Taylor Fritz, you know, putting up that American semi-final down there, and now Jessica Pegula also coming up as well in the female category, beating world #1 Iga Swiatek. What do you make of the progress of Jessica Pegula and the Americans? What are they up to this time?
Well, they are up to change the narrative after so many years of them taking, you know, backseat in terms of the ATP or even the WTA. I think it's been a while we saw an American making headway in a big stage such as this. So for me, I think they are beginning to rediscover their mojo. And again, buoyed by the fact that they are playing at home, more like a homecoming, more like homeboys and girls coming home out there. So we expect a whole lot of support from different quarters out there. If you've actually been following some of the live game out there, you can see the court very filled with you know, the Americans cheering their own to victory. So for me, I think it's a big one for them. Let's hope that they can take full advantage of the fact that they are playing at home and possibly win the male and the female category. It's going to be a very massive you know, victory for them, especially now that they are playing at home and the fans is behind them. I tell you, it's a great opportunity for them. They can be able to maximize, you know, and make use of the good support from the home crowd out there. It's going to be a good one for them. But for Iga Swiatek, I think for Iga Swiatek losing this one, am I surprised? No, not surprised, because she has actually been very, very active so far this season. She has been taking part in almost all the major competitions as well in her bids to maintain that #1 ranking. And you know, she's also a human. Sometimes you need to at least you know, take her time to rest. Maybe fatigue have set in. Like I said, she has been very, very active so far this season, playing one competition or the other. You know, at this point, getting to even this point, I think I must also give her some kudos because of what she has achieved. Don't also forget that, you know, she has maintained the #1 ranking for a quite long time right now. It clearly tells you how active she has been on the court. And for me, I think I'm not disappointed that Iga Swiatek was knocked out, because, like I said, fatigue setting, and sometimes she need to also take a rest, maybe a break or some sort, to at least regain back that energy. And I think that is the reason why she actually lost that one.
All right, talking about Jessica Pegula pushing through, Arina Sabalenka sent an ominous message to her rival as she demolished Zhang Qinwen to set up a U.S. Open semi-final against Emma Navarro. World number 2 Sabalenka claimed a statement 6-1, 6-2 victory against Olympic champion and 7-seed Zhang. That came after American Navarro recovered from a 5-1 second set deficit to beat Spain Paula Badoza at 6-2, 7-5 in the front of a partisan New York crowd. All right, let's start away from tennis as we, of course, move straight to the Super Eagles camp in New York. Michael, Super Eagles camp, of course, bubbling at the moment as we hear 22 players are in camp. Kelechi Iheanacho arrived yesterday, Maduka Okoye also arrived yesterday, and Victor Osimhen is expected in camp today.
Yeah, I think it's been very great, starting from Monday when 11 players actually arrived at camp, and then on Tuesday we saw about 17 to 18 players also hitting the camp. Yesterday being Wednesday, we saw about 20 players or 22 thereabout also hitting the camp, making the total numbers at this morning from what we are getting from our man on ground out there to 22 players. I think the only player left to be seen in the camp is Victor Osimhen, who stayed back at Turkey to finalize his deal with Galatasaray, which for me I think is a good one. And he will be hitting camp possibly today anytime as we speak. I think it's been very, very good. The feelings and the practice session has been very good for me. I watched their training session yesterday at the Nest of Champions. I tell you, there's a whole lot of understanding among the players and even the coaching crew as well, which for me could prove very vital, towards also boosting the morale of the player in going to deliver on the mandate, which is giving us all 3 points with convincing, football come Saturday, 7th of September.
Let's see how it goes. But what do you make of it? Talking about the ticket fee for the game this weekend, we understand that VIP tickets will go for 3,000 naira each, and for regular 1,000 naira each.
Good, I think affordable, especially considering what we are facing through in terms of the fuel issue here, 1,200 per liter. So I think they even try, is trying to subsidize, the ticket price out there. For 1,000 naira for a regular ticket, 3,000 for the VIP. I think it's okay for me going by that. I think this will also help to pull out the crowd in their numbers to possibly fill the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium, so that at least, we cheer the Super Eagles, to victory, because the fans as well, they truly matters in any game, because having the fans filling the stadium, cheering every touches of the ball from the Super Eagles player, it gives them that belief and that high confidence to even double their effort to see if they can get all 3 points, and not just getting all 3 points, but more like a call it a vendetta exercise against the cheaters of Benin Republic, because this same team defeated us in the World Cup qualifying game away. That have also put us in a very tight corner in terms of the World Cup qualification. So I am expecting us to pummel, destroy, dismantle the cheaters of Benin Republic with not just a goal, but 2, 3, 4 goals, upwards.
Okay, yesterday, Super Eagles forward Ademola Lookman was nominated for the Ballon d'Or award. What do you think of this one for Ademola Lookman?
I think it's very encouraging for Africa and for Nigerian players over there in abroad. The exploit of Lukman Ademola last season for the Atalanta, I think he has been underrated for me, because for a player who scored a hat-trick in the Europa League final against a team that have never lost a single game since the start of the season, down to that last day where they lock on against Bayern Leverkusen. I think for me it's a very impressive one for Nigerian players, because it's not just a victory for Lukman Ademola, but a victory for Nigerian football as well, because so many big clubs as well will now begin to look out for Nigerian players courtesy of this. Don't forget, last season as well, Victor Osimhen finished on the 8th position in the Ballon d'Or award. Consecutively, we are having another Nigerian being nominated. I tell you, it's a big leap in terms of that is to tell you how much of talent that Nigeria boasts of. It's just that our administration, a comedian said that in the developed climes, what they suffer, their own natural disaster is earthquake, hurricane, volcano, name it. What the natural disaster that we are suffering right here in Africa and Nigeria is bad leadership. That is just the only natural disaster that Africa is suffering. Away from that, Africa is blessed. Nigeria is blessed with talent. So for me, I think Lukman Ademola being nominated for the Ballon d'Or award is a very, very big one. Like I said earlier, it's more like underrating his achievement last season, because I think he should be even named Atlanta Player of the Season, for his exploit last season. The world journals, most sport publications, they didn't even pay much attention to what he did. Talking about the heroes in the final. Victor Osimhen also helped Napoli last 2 seasons to win the Scudetto after 33 years. But what happened? Instead of giving him the Napoli Player of the Season, they had to give it to Ivica Kvaratskhelia. Sometimes I begin to wonder whether is there maybe the racism card or whatever.
Okay, Michael. I think we'll talk more about this by 6 p.m. We'll make a return for Sports Extraordinary. Time is up. We have to leave at this point. Also, bring you the other nomination in the Ballon d'Or award this time. But don't forget, you can go down to our different social media handle. The conversation, of course, will continue right at there. Peace and unity is always the pathways to progress. My name is Kingsley Emmanuel. Thanks for watching.